So, hi guys, this is like a super major update video because I just finished my Japanese proficiency test for the N4, and I'm super happy about that. But because of all that, I've just been super busy and I haven't been able to get back to a lot of people. So I just feel like we come to the the half point of the year 2018, and it's been a very interesting year because I just remember at the start of the year, slightly overwhelmed. I was still doing that thing where, I was comparing myself to other people. I keep talking about this topic a lot, but I feel like it happens a lot. I became overwhelmed simply because I wanted to maintain, all of my interests, my hobbies, and my skills, and I was trying to do too much at the same time, essentially. So it's very it came to the start of the year, and I was watching some self development videos from my good friend Gary V, and then at one point he literally just said, "Look, if you want to get better at anything, literally just have tunnel vision for it, focus on that, and focus on that thing alone, and just do as much work as possible in order to get better at that skill." So I was just thinking that would be cool. The last time I had a passion like that was when I started video editing at the age of 15, and then I was doing that around, my GCSE exams. And I used to edit like every single day in order to improve. And I used to suck at first so badly that I didn't even want to show some people sometimes. And I put some stuff into other channels and I didn't upload some content. But the result is that daily grind after 2 years, I became a much better editor and I liked my work, and I was more able to show it to people and be proud of what I produced. So yeah, it's interesting. So I mean, slightly. So at the start of the year, I had this goal of wanting to improve in Japanese. Like I really wanted to improve my Japanese because right now, well, previously I didn't really have that much confidence, and I wanted to build that sort of confidence. So I just thought the first step to take producing any sort of change is by acting on it. So I acted on it. I got some tutors, and I started to practice weekly with two different people, just speaking, conversational stuff, some help for my Japanese part-time course I'm going to 1 day a week. And I was thinking, wow, this is cool, but at the same time, I'm a little bit overwhelmed as I got my kanji, I've got the grammar stuff, as well as just speaking, and I felt like I kind of wasn't too great at all of them, and trying to focus on all of them at once is a little bit tricky. Alongside doing my other hobbies like anime, gaming, and etc. I just felt like there was an overwhelming amount to catch up on, as I feel like I have that need to be up to date on everything I'm focusing on. So it's interesting. So I was just reading, a bunch of self-help books. More than say a bunch, I think I only read like two. So one, one was the rejection proof. So becoming, okay about, rejection, what rejection is, looking at different people's stories about, how they get over, just rejection, and not even in the form of just relationships or whatever, but in the form of, just daily life things about, things you want to, ask, or, push yourself, or, put yourself into a certain situation, but you're too afraid of, the negative results, so you're less likely to actually go through it. So stuff like that. And reading that book definitely just helped, and it gave me a more concrete idea of what rejection meant to me, and the certain situations what I need to improve on. And also, I read this book called Reasons to Stay Alive. I mean, it sounds really bleak, and I bought it in the worst case situation, but it's not a sort of book which is giving you reasons to stay alive. It's essentially an author's tale, not tell really, but author's story about how he had mental health issues, um, describing it in detail and giving advice to people who may be going through similar issues, or giving advice to people who may know someone who's going through an issue like that, and just kind of, turning his message into something positive. So I mean, that's definitely also another good read what I'd recommend to some people. But yeah, so after I finished reading those books, yeah, some personal crap happened, and I felt really low, and I just felt like something needs to change. So literally one day I just woke up, and then I was just thinking, okay, I want to do a lot of Japanese all of a sudden. I want to dedicate a lot of my time towards this and improve the most I can. So I started. So I applied for the JLPT N4. I bought a bunch of books, and I started watching a number of videos about improving Japanese skill. So it's interesting. I wanted to improve my speaking, and I saw this person on. So went on YouTube and typed in, "Hey, foreign person speaking Japanese," and I came across this person named Brit versus Japan, and I was like, "Wow, this is interesting." And then he was speaking like fairly good for only around like 2 years or so. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. And then I came across, another video on the recommended, and it was just talking about how Wanikani is not a good option. And Wanikani is essentially just a website to learn kanji, and why remembering the kanji, another book for remembering the kanji, is better. So I watched that, and I discovered, another YouTuber named Matt vs Japan. And as I kept watching his videos, I discovered more about this study technique called AJATT. And AJATT is essentially all Japanese all the time. So essentially what they want you to do is immerse yourself in the language, and with this immersion that will equal fluency after a certain point. So the way they saw it is, when you're a kid, you kind of learn your native language without putting much effort into it. You're surrounded by it all the time. Your parents tell you commands and stuff within the language. You go to, a native, whatever language you learn in school. You can converse with your friends. They teach you more about it there, and etc. And it's just more of a sort of gradual, natural feeling. And like AJATT is just a weird way of trying to recreate that for a language learner in their adult state or whenever they're learning, really. So you can get the immersion factor, as well as like just immersing yourself in native material also. So the key thing about AJATT is trying to have an earphone in at all times, just listening to whatever you find interesting in that language. So with me and Japanese, that's anime, and that could be anything else. And the key with that is that you try to immerse yourself as much as possible, and you like dive into native material in the language you're learning, the target language. So you can read manga, you can do textbook stuff like grammar stuff, just whatever. And as you keep immersing, the things what you keep learning just almost start popping out at you when you're listening to this material. So like, for example, you might hear a word like, I don't know, daidokoro, kitchen, right? So you might see that down once, build that into as a sort of, mental memory mindset. You say, okay, cool. Like, I have an image of what this word may mean, but I may not know how it's used in context. Then as you're listening to the immersion over and over, it might just pop out and you just say, okay, I have a more concrete understanding of this. And as you keep hearing the words in different contexts, you understand and you create and build a bigger picture of it. So yeah, that's very interesting. But the thing is that at first, when I did check out this AJATT thing, I was quite skeptical, because some people are just telling you to listen to almost like 20 hours a day. Like, there's some hardcore people doing this for like around 20 hours a day, and you're just thinking this is a bit too long. And they also wanted you to start off by learning all of the kanji first. So learn 2,200 like Joyo kanji. So just the English meanings of it. And the key with that is that so you can like build a sort of mental kind of memory set for all of these kanji, so that when you want to write it down, you just recall it using a keyword or story, and you're able to write it down with ease, rather than doing the whole repetition to build it into your muscle memory. So that was very interesting. And then when it comes to writing, when you're when you have like a new word which comes up, you won't be totally like confused. You'll have some kind of idea of the meaning. So and then after that, they'll like you to do sentence patterns. So just keep grinding sentence patterns of like whatever you want to do, and that will give you a sort of understanding of how the language is used in the more casual or real life fashion, as opposed to textbook robotics stuff. So yeah, I found that pretty interesting, but at the same time, I felt like it required a lot of dedication, and it required a lot of time as well. And I felt like I feel like the minimum they were asking was like 2 hours of like passive listening, 2 hours of active listening, and 2 hours of reading. So they're trying to take 6 hours of your day to do this. And I felt like this was too much. So as I kept thinking about that technique, as I was just learning Japanese through my part-time course and tutors, I literally just got onto the train one day, and then I saw this guy. He was just on his iPhone, just going through some sentence patterns, and I was just like, "Wait a sec, you learning Japanese?" And then he was just like, "Yeah, I'm learning Japanese." And we started talking, and I told him about the AJATT method. And then bear in mind, the person who is pushing this, AJATT sort of thing with the more new AJATT is right now. It's this guy called Matt vs Japan on YouTube. It's got like around 4,000 subscribers. So I mentioned AJATT to him, and I mentioned Matt's channel, and then he knew exactly what I was talking about. So he was further, giving me an explanation as to what AJATT was and etc. And he convinced me to buy, Remembering the Kanji, and to put some more time into the sort of, AJATT routine. So that's very interesting. So essentially what happened after that is I started studying for my JLPT N4. I bought like 5 books in total. So when I started off, I was doing like 2 to 4 hours of Japanese study a day. So I was doing flashcards with vocab. I was doing my homework, my weekly homework for a Japanese class, and I had a reading book, and I had a grammar book. So I did like 2 pages, only 2 pages each day of my reading book, and 2 pages each day of my grammar book, right? Only 2 pages. And I tried my best to understand everything there. And it's interesting because if you do 2 pages every day for like around 6 weeks, you'll cover like 100 pages. Because I didn't want to exhaust myself, and I really wanted to understand what I was doing rather than cramming everything in. So as time went on, I bought another book. And what was the other book? I have to try and remember. Was it a kotoba book? I think it was a kotoba book. So it was not a language. It was a vocabulary book. So I started doing vocabulary. There was 100 pages in it as well. So I started doing a vocabulary book, and then as time went on, I started doing a listening book as well. So each of these books had like around 100 to maybe like 130, 150 pages. But it's not reading for entertainment, it's reading to understand. So that's why I just did not so much. So I got through these books eventually, like, in the 3-month period. So, reading, grammar, what else? Vocabulary, reading, writing, vocabulary, listening. In the end, I bought an exam practice book. And then the last book I did after this period was just the practice exam book of, administered by the people like setting the exam. So I thought that was it was pretty difficult. So I was trying to keep up at least like 2 to 4 hours. Sometimes it was even 6 hours each day, because like I was doing like, I don't know, let's just say 3 books at a time at one point. But when I dropped those 3 books to 2 books, then eventually 1 book, things got a lot chiller. But I feel like just doing that daily kind of just instilled this kind of just hard working kind of like factor into me again. It reminded me of the grind when I was editing at first, and it just really showed me that I really wanted this, and I really wanted to do well, not only in the exam, but just understand things in total. So I used to like, do this and juggle this around sleeping really late. So I used to sleep around like 6 a.m. and wake up at like, 2 or 3 p.m. daily and still do this. I also juggle that around work. I was working like, 1 to 3 days a week. So, juggle this around work. And no matter what time I got back, so, I would always do at least, 2 pages from each book. And it was interesting because, at one point I was challenged by one of my friends, and they said, hey, look, if you keep doing this, you're going to burn out. It's impossible to keep going daily study. The real way to learn language learning is blah, 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 blah. And I said, look, I'm going to keep doing this. And when I I'll deal with burnout in whatever way I feel is best. So I felt like at times there were doubts. There were, a part of me was just like, do I really want this? Is this really going to amount to things? Am I seeing the results of things? And should I really carry on? But I just kept going and just ignored that really. And there was times where I did feel burnt out because like for the first like 2 months or maybe 3 weeks, 2 months and 2 weeks really, I had like no break day. It was just like study every day, flashcards, books, etc. But eventually I just said, okay, look, let's just have 1 like or 2 full days off, really relax and really like, allow my brain to, soak this in. So I did do that, and that was a really good break. So in the end, like I was doing all of this while incorporating the AJATT kind of routine, and as I did that like around 1 month into the whole learning Japanese everyday thing. So I found that listening to Japanese daily, what I did is just I put like my favorite anime in my ear and I try and listen to it as much as possible. It was mostly passive listening, but it really did help improve my listening and understanding in general, because rather than having something you just come to every now and then, it's kind of like constant. It kind of keeps giving you reminders of what the language sounds like and how to compose it, and it kind of shouts at you words you should know, or words you just learned, and then you hear it in context, so you're just like, wow, that's cool, and it just becomes this kind of fun thing, and less of like distraction and more of a kind of just natural sort of occurrence, which is and just goes into your head. So yeah, so that's interesting. So 3 months later, and yeah, now I'm done. I've done grinding for the grammar and the sort of written side of Japanese and everything, and I hope to just do more really. Like this is like my first kind of official day off, because like yesterday I was working and on Sunday I had the test. So this is my first official day off, and I just feel the urge to just work more, but I know I should like force myself to just have a break and really just give myself some time off so I could really just relax and prepare myself for the next day. So yeah, like it's crazy. So that's the reason why like I've been super dead. I've been super dead, like in terms of like replying to people and etc. online. And while doing the Japanese stuff, I've been building my Facebook page, and that's been going pretty good as well. So building that, sharing daily stuff, finding that and everything, as well as like occasionally just making A&Vs what I still do. So yeah, like that's it, man. That's the massive update what I wanted to talk about. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say, but it's 2018. 2018 is wild. We got this, and this is the update. So I'll see you next video, and let me know in the comments what you have to feel about Japanese, your experience, or just learning language in general, or anything what I said about self-development or whatnot. I'd just like to know what you guys are saying, and I'll hit you up with a response, man. So 2018, we got this. There's too much it happens. There's too much what a guy. We got this, man. Boy.